When we talk about the greatest lead guitarists of all time, we're not just talking about fingers that flew across frets or solos that melted stadiums into puddles of euphoria. We're talking about influence, about revolution, about players who didn't just bend strings, but bent reality, who made us believe that 6 strings could change the world. This is not just a tribute to technical mastery. This is a celebration of those who stood at the edge of stages, amps howling behind them, and turned noise into art. These are the alchemists of tone, the prophets of distortion, the poets who didn't need words, because every note they played told us everything we needed to hear. These are the 30 most influential lead guitarists of all time. We begin with Jimi Hendrix, because how could we not? He didn't just play guitar, he channeled storms through it. With his Strat slung upside down, he rewrote the language of rock and left behind a trail of cosmic fuzz and psychedelic wonder. There's a reason guitarists still chase his ghost today. Then there's Jimmy Page, the dark magician of Led Zeppelin. Every solo, every riff, every bow-struck string opened new dimensions. He fused blues, folk, and raw power into something mythic, and in doing so, he laid the foundation for every hard rock band that followed. Eric Clapton gave us tone so sweet it could break your heart. From the Yardbirds to Cream to his solo ballads, Slowhand taught generations how to make a guitar sing with soul and sorrow. B.B. King may have stood still on stage, but his fingers traveled galaxies. Lucille wasn't just a guitar, she was his voice. Every note was a conversation, every bend a prayer. And while he didn't wail like a rocker, his influence cut just as deep. Eddie Van Halen broke every rule. Tapping, harmonics, speed that seemed to defy biology. With his Frankenstrat, he changed what was possible, and suddenly, the 80s exploded in Technicolor fretwork. Stevie Ray Vaughan didn't just play the blues, he dragged them into the modern era, kicking and screaming. His tone was thick as Texas heat, and his fire lit up every note. He reminded us that blues could be loud, wild, and spiritual. Slash, with his top hat and Les Paul, became the face of rock guitar for a generation. His solo on Sweet Child O' Mine didn't just define Guns N' Roses, it became a rite of passage for every kid who picked up a guitar in the 90s. David Gilmour taught us that speed isn't everything. Feel matters more. Space matters more. His solos for Pink Floyd, especially on Comfortably Numb, are studies in restraint, emotion, and mastery. Every note had purpose. Every bend told a story. Tony Iommi, the godfather of heavy metal. With fingertips damaged by factory work, he forged a new path, darker, heavier, doom-laden. Black Sabbath's riffs still echo through every modern metal band. Without Iommi, there is no metal. Brian May didn't just build his guitar, he built an empire of sound with it. Queen's lead man of melody turned solos into orchestras, and his harmonized leads became trademarks of theatrical rock perfection. Keith Richards was raw, dirty, beautifully imperfect. His guitar work in the Rolling Stones gave rock its swagger. He wasn't always lead, but when he stepped forward, the world listened. Carlos Santana brought Latin soul into the rock mainstream. His tone is unmistakable, smooth, lyrical, spiritual. When Santana solos, it feels like sunrise in a desert. You don't listen, you feel. Pete Townshend smashed guitars, but only after making them scream with power. The Who's chaotic, explosive energy wouldn't exist without his power chords and feedback-laced leads. He made rhythm lead. He made destruction poetic. Mark Knopfler, with his fingerpick precision, carved a space all his own. Dire Straits wasn't flashy, but Sultans of Swingin' Brothers in Arms proved that clean, articulate playing could cut through just as deep as distortion. Kurt Cobain was no virtuoso, but influence. He had it in buckets. With simple, sludgy riffs and raw solos, he dismantled the overproduced sounds of the 80s. His guitar work said, "You don't need a million notes, you need honesty." Tom Morello turned his guitar into a weapon of resistance. With Rage Against the Machine and Audioslave, he created sounds no one thought a guitar could make. Scratches, sirens, turntable imitations, he was a rebel technician. Randy Rhoads was gone too soon, but his work with Ozzy Osbourne lit a fuse under the metal scene. Classically trained, yet a master of metal riffage, he gave us fireworks of precision and grace. Prince, the Purple One, is often overlooked as a guitarist, but that's a mistake. His solos, whether on Purple Rain or live, were volcanic. He could shred with the best of them, and then switch to funk rhythms that made the earth move. Jeff Beck, a true explorer. Never one to settle, Beck pushed into jazz fusion, rockabilly, and beyond. He didn't care about fame, he cared about tone. About the possibilities of the instrument. About the art. Angus Young, the schoolboy who never grew up, kept ACDC loud and proud for decades. His leads were wild, his energy unmatched, his solos lightning bolts wrapped in leather and sweat. Ritchie Blackmore bridged the mystical and the brutal. With Deep Purple and Rainbow, he carved neoclassical shapes into rock's granite wall. Smoke on the Water was just the start. Duane Allman brought the slide to center stage. His work with the Allman Brothers and Derek and the Dominoes taught a generation how to whip through a bottleneck. His tone was as southern as red clay. George Harrison, the quiet Beatle, was subtle but profound. His solos weren't flashy, but they were timeless. He brought the sitar into rock, yes, but also a depth of melody that influenced everyone. Joan Jett, the queen of rock attitude, turned her guitar into a riot. She wasn't about speed or complexity, she was about power, and about proving that women could lead the charge. And she did. Lindsey Buckingham, Fleetwood Mac's heartbeat, created a style all his own. Fingerpicking, folk blues, rock pop. His solos, especially on Go Your Own Way, were controlled explosions of emotion. Billy Gibbons made Texas Boogie cool again. With ZZ Top, his fuzzy tone and laid-back grooves gave us songs that moved hips and rattled windows. Nancy Wilson of Heart showed that femininity and ferocity could coexist. Her acoustic intros and electric runs proved that lead guitar wasn't just a boys' game, it was about passion. Gary Moore, the Irish firebrand, combined blues soul with volcanic technique. His work on Still Got the Blues remains a masterclass in emotional lead guitar playing. The Edge, from U2, is all about texture, delay, echo, atmosphere. He doesn't play a million notes, but he plays the right ones, and lets them hang in space like prayer flags. John Frusciante, of Red Hot Chili Peppers, brought vulnerability to funk punk rock. His phrasing is instinctive, his tone fragile, and his solos always drenched in feeling. These are the players who rewrote the rules. Who didn't just follow trends, they created them. They weren't always the fastest, or the flashiest, but they were the ones who made other guitarists stop and listen. They made us believe in the power of a single note, in the story a solo could tell. They are gods, they are rebels, they are storytellers, and their strings will ring forever.